This is our Forex blog for May 27th, 2011. And like most days, we really want to sell the weak currencies. Today, the daily, weekly, monthly trend of the dollar is much weaker than the yen. You can see a lot of weakness last night coming up to midnight, and then for about an hour, another hour, 3 hours here, and then for the last 2.5 hours or 2 hours. And so you want to trade the weak dollar against one of the stronger ones. The Swiss was one of the stronger ones last night. Just absolutely super strong last night. Daily, weekly, monthly trend is probably the strongest of all the pairs. The New Zealand also has some of the longest or strongest longer term trend, and it also was very strong until about 2. And then, anytime you see a strong currency have, 3 to 5 hours of weakness, when that strength comes back, at 8 o'clock right here, it's pretty safe to assume that it should continue. So really after about 7:30 right here, you can expect normally about an hour to 2 hours of strength. So let's look at this right here coming up to 8. And also at 8, the dollar was currently weak. So, very safe, high probability trade would be New Zealand dollar buy coming up to 8. Here's 8 o'clock. And actually, it was around 7:30 when that was the case. We have kind of like a little wedge pattern forming here. It's not the highest probability trade, but when it breaks out right here, you can see it went up about 20 pips. Counter trend sell signal here, and the lack of real-time intensity would be a reason to get out of it. Then you have this pullback right here where it finds support at the balance point line. You go long again, and you draw your fibs off of this move. Notice the Fibonacci profit target was the end of the move, and it was my overnight Fibonacci projected high, which actually got hit last night. It was major resistance here, here, and here. I spend about 30 or 40 minutes every night doing fibs, and many nights when I was trading, I would do this before anyway. Now I update it so all you can, who are mentor students, can see these on your charts. It saves you 30 or 40 minutes a day, and you can see the very high accuracy of those, most days. For example, here's a euro dollar where my projected high pretty much was the high. Right here, went slightly through it here and collapsed again. But some of the stronger pairs, go right through it. Obviously, I'm not right 100% of the time. Dollar Swiss really weak last night, and obviously penetrated all the levels. Pound dollar very strong and went through them today, but it was major resistance here, 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 and only later did it really explode through the highs. I nailed the high in the Australian dollar as I showed, and also the New Zealand dollar. There's just a little side break from our normal part of the class. Here's the Australian dollar again. Notice this showed up last night, showed it here and here, and of course the New Zealand dollar as well, which you can just see from that chart there. So getting back to the strongest and weakest pairs, the Swiss was very strong, especially at 5. It's just off the chart strong. Now the dollar was strong too, but if you see a strong Swiss, watch it, and as soon as that dollar loses some of its strength, coming up to about 5 o'clock, 5:30, I mean, you really want to look to sell that currency. This one had really collapsed last night and then kind of came up here and had a very, sideways type move. We now have alerts in our trend lines, which allows you to draw a trend line on there, and when a trend line gets broken, you can have it sent to your text message, you can have it sent to your email, you can have a big audio alert sent out, and this one really didn't immediately collapse. It fell 10 pips, rallied up, fell another 10, but the point is, it alerted you around this time. And even if you're a scalper, you made a little bit, This one here, you made a nice 20 or 30 pip move. And anytime you get a nice looking pullback off the lows like this, you go short here, and this one, just collapsed. And normally you want to draw your fibs off of the previous wave, and it gives you an idea where to take profit. Notice it only went about 4 pips underneath the fib target, and a bunch of trend reversal signals underneath the lower band are usually a great place to get out with a maximum profit. Again, the Swiss was extremely strong. CAD was pretty weak today. You could have traded the CAD against the super strong Swiss as well. CAD Swiss is very likely to drop like a rock. And you can see, pretty much on every little pullback up, you go short, falls. Every pullback up, you go short, falls. Pull back up, short, falls. In this case, a lot of pips, 50 pips. When you use a currency meter and you're trading the strongest versus a weak, this is what you frequently will find. And let me just end the Forex blog today with, a way that I like to use trend lines. For example, here you can clearly see an uptrend. You draw your trend line off the low here, which, it doesn't have to be perfect, but what we're looking for is the slope of the up move. All right, see, started here, hit here, and hit here. Anytime a currency hits a trend line 3 times, it's very powerful. Then what you do is you take this and move it off of the highs, like, we're back here. These highs got hit. And then you right click on it, create an alert, and when price rallies up and hits this trend line later in the day, it usually is the end of the move. Now in this case, there was 2 reasons to sell there. It was the projected trend line, which shows kind of the slope of the uptrend, and usually when it gets at or above that level, it runs out of steam. But it also happened to be a Fibonacci profit target level off of the last move, which I believe I probably drew it from here to here, and well, not quite. I might have drawn it off of the previous swing here. And I have some longer term charts up too. I'm not sure why this was my fib level. It might have been a little bit lower swing that I did it on. It was so strong that I tend to want to draw them off of wider areas. Yeah, that's what it was. This low here to this first wave right here, which was far enough away that I thought was going to be today's high, and it was. So by putting the trend line on your chart and off of the lows, because this is an uptrend, dragging it over to the top or simply right clicking and duplicating it, you can create your own little trend channels on here, and we also have a special tool that does those automatically. It's a trend channel tool. You draw it off of the lows like this, and then you move your mouse over the high, and you can see that these are the different quartiles of the trend. You want to look to buy in the lower quartiles and exit your trades in the upper ones. So if you had looked to buy here in this lower quartile, this would have been an excellent place to get out of the trade. Comes down to the lower quartile, you buy again, you see, and you can see on very strong trends like this, it works exceptionally well. We have so many tools, we rarely go over them, even on a monthly basis, but especially not in the blogs. But if you're lucky enough to be watching this particular blog post, you just learned 2 new easy ways to find some very high probability trades that you might not have known how to look for before.